The At Your Insta podcast is brought to you by ComicTown. Check them out at www.comictown.net or search for ComicTown Gaming Center on Facebook. Hello, and welcome to At Your Insta. My name is Morgan. I'm here with Mike.
Hi.
And Dave.
What's up, everyone?
We have another fun-filled episode for you guys this week. Theoretically a short one, but we say that all the time, and then we still produce like hour-and-a-half long episodes. So
we don't have a podcast because we don't like talking.
That's very true. But not necessarily a whole lot to talk about, at least from our realm of the Magic universe. So we'll go ahead. We have a couple of community topics, not much there to talk about. And then competitive over the weekend, well, the two GPs were limited. There were some things that we do want to talk about from those GPs, but not a whole lot. And then we actually have going to turns, and we have questions prepared for this week as well. So we'll have that. So that'll kind of give you some awesome content to listen to. And then our typical wrap up and everything like that. So
how are you guys feeling, by the way? You guys all the way back?
Yeah, I think
We're not plague bearers anymore?
No, I think I'm still getting over the cough, but I'm not spreading it any longer. The lesions have died down. I'm so sorry. My phone is on silence.
Oh man, you know what? They're gonna come after us now. All the Back to the Future. They're gonna come.
If you wouldn't have said what it was, we could have argued ignorance. But now you've made sure we're getting sued.
Oh, I mean, reverse to the time ahead of this. I couldn't think of a better word for future. I'm sorry.
Return to the time that you once were in.
Yeah, the time has not yet happened.
Yeah, the time has not yet happened. Correct. That's I'm gonna make that version of
reverse to the time that has not yet happened.
Sounds like the Russian knockoff version. Go back to the time at which you started, but hopefully things haven't changed too much because you meddled with past.
You need to go 88 miles per hour.
Well, I don't know how much that would be.
Kilometers per second. Whatever.
I don't know what the conversion to kilometers would be. I think I don't know if Mike's doing that right now or not.
I wasn't. No, I don't know if they use kilometers. I might just make it up. Just you have to go 11 spooples.
I don't think that's true. Likely insensitive. So.
To who?
I don't know. Someone.
The spooples? I don't even know.
Probably.
That's a real word. Actually, I'm sorry. I don't know if that is.
That's true.
I apologize to the spooples if that's the thing.
we meant no injustice to the great Schmoople nation. But anyway, let's move into our lovely community topic. So it is important to note that the Pro Tour is coming up, which is pretty exciting, pretty awesome. It's going to be in lovely Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken, which is great.
You are not mistaken.
Awesome. I enjoy someone saying that to me every day.
Well, don't get used to it. You're about to get married.
That's very true. I got to get him in while I can. And it's this weekend, right? I'm not wrong about that.
Yes.
Okay, correct. All right. I don't really know
Starts
much of
on
anything.
Friday.
Yeah, you can tell that Morgan hasn't just checked out of everything yet.
Sorry.
He's been busy.
I got stuff on my plate. But there is going to be the new top 8 is going to be in place. So we have the weird staggered top 8 that'll be kind of showing up here. I'm trying to scroll and find it.
It discourages drawing now.
Correct, because the higher you place, theoretically, the less top 8 matches you'll actually have to play.
Yeah, so it's possible to win 2 matches and the top 8 instead of 3 to win the whole thing.
Right. So that'll be an interesting thing to see how that happens, but I think that they have put enough time in front of it to allow people to understand the impacts of drawing and stuff like that. And I think it's fairly interesting. People like seeing matches of Magic, and they really want to find ways to encourage people not to draw in the last rounds of the Pro Tour, and not outright ban intentional draws at the Pro Tour.
Yeah,
which they have said that is the goal. They do not want to do that.
Right, and you can't really do that. There's no realistic way to enforce that, I think. But
not if you have a timer.
Right.
Correct, yeah.
I do appreciate that they're taking the steps to make it more of a spectator sport. in that facet, I think. But discouraging draws makes those last couple rounds way more exciting. So
yeah, interesting. Play this format. If you follow along with the Comic Con Classic series, we just got an update today that the championship event in December, they're using this top 8 playoff system.
Oh, that's awesome.
So get to try that out. Well, hopefully top 8 and try it out.
Yeah, I know I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised it was only 6 rounds. But it's only 32 people. Yeah. So, but yeah.
So I know it's really random, but I was like, I saw this whole written out, and I was like, oh yeah, this, and that's kind of reminded me for show notes. So.
Yeah. And they're doing this is the start of the teams.
That is correct. This should be the beginning of the trial for the teams.
The trial run, yeah. This
correct.
Isn't the official.
Yeah, this is the official thing, but this is when they're going to start at the very least, like collecting data and having people have their 9, and then I think for the trial period they have like one more person that counts towards it or something like that, or maybe that's when it actually starts. But they recently changed that, so that's on the mothership if you want to sort of check it out. Did we talk about like all the stuff that they're changing for competitive? Actually, now that I think about it, so like how the Super Sunday series is like going away.
Oh no, we didn't not.
No, because I think it happened after we recorded. So,
right.
But that is something that we can talk about since that's a good community topic. But they are changing some of the competitive level stuff. They released the state of like competitive play article or whatever they call it, and that was one of the big takeaways that I had was that the Super Sunday series will be no more. I think the last one is sometime in early 2017, and then pretty much that's it. And basically, their motivation to do this was to allow the tournament organizers to have more freedom with the events that they can run on the Sunday on the second day of the GP.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, only because I don't know if a lot of tournament organizers, at least as a player who goes to these GPs, have not earned my trust in that capacity. Like, the Super Sunday series is nice because it was set by Wizards, you knew what the prize structure was no matter what, and you could count on the event being there. So the idea of saying, oh, we're going to open it up to our vendors, well, great, I can't wait to see what Pastimes does to destroy my Sunday. Sorry, that's really negative, but I'm being serious here. Like, what sort of bloated, high entry fee event with average prizes can we now use, and we'll call it freedom? I guess I don't blame Wizards for wanting to be a little more hands off on that. But I like the Sunday series. It was nice, and I'm sad that their response to discontinuing it is, we'll see what the TOs do. So I really hope they are working with the TOs, giving them some ideas. Maybe this is just the first part of whatever else is coming. But if it is literally just like an excuse to let the TO run a bigger event on Sunday, well, I think you'll see less people come on Sunday, would be my guess, and also worse tournaments on Sundays.
We'll see. I mean, we'll give it a chance.
I'm not.
I'm willing to give it a shot.
Snap judgments all around.
Don't give it a chance.
I'm willing to give it a shot.
You're wrong.
No. Was there another thing that they cited too was like the Super Series are often running longer than the actual regular tournament. So like the GP would be done and over with, Super Series would still be, not even starting the top 8 yet.
Right.
So I get that.
And trying to see if there's anything else more pertinent in that article that we could talk about. Now, while I'm doing that, Mike, as our resident of Vorthos, do you want to kind of give us an update on the Kaladesh story and where we're at with it?
Yeah, the story that came out today was sort of interesting. It got to the showdown as depicted on those are the Fateful Showdown. Is that the card?
Yeah,
the red card.
It was a Fateful Showdown.
So interestingly, I thought this was going to be because I couldn't tell in the art, but I thought it was going to be Chandra versus Barul, or the guy who's been essentially chasing down the Nalaar family on Kaladesh forever. But it actually was Tezzeret versus Pia Nalaar in a crafting competition where they had to use metal to craft gizmos and constructs to try and attack each other. But of course, Tezzeret with his cool arm is really his Ethereum arm is able to cheat everything and do whatever he wants. So interestingly though, the entire Gatewatch ends up there. So Liliana has been MIA while Chandra and Nissa have been looking for Pia. They ended up in the cool trap, the deadlock trap.
The deadlock trap, yeah.
That you saw. And Ajani broke them out. because Ajani knows Pashir. That's the one mana green legend who's been leading around Nissa and Chandra. And apparently Ajani, because of knows Pashir, but also knows Tamio and I'm going to forget her name again.
Narset.
Because they used to hang out on Kamigawa, and Elspeth used to be there too. So they're really doing whatever they can to shoehorn all of these people in. But essentially, Liliana goes and gets Jace, who was also talking to Ralzeric about Vraska. Okay, name check.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, remember all these planeswalkers that we printed? Here's some updates on them, basically.
And yet no Koth. Hashtag Kothwatch 2016.
Please come back.
We're almost to 2017 now.
I know.
What's going on?
But so the Gatewatch comes, so that means Gideon and Jace also come back, and Ajani teams up with them. So they let this competition start until it looks like Pia's going to lose, and then Chandra starts lighting things on fire, and all of the Gatewatch is there plus Ajani, which is kind of cool. That's there's the blue card.
The untap all your permanents card.
Yes.
Whatever.
Which is unplayable apparently according to LSV. So
It's 0.
and they start fighting, but eventually it ends up just being a trap. And Tezzeret wanted all of them there so that he could, much like a comic book villain, use his spin his little Tweedly mustache and then steal all of the inventions. The one thing I think is interesting about this, and the reason I mentioned this, so one, you've got the Super Gatewatch now, and quite literally you had an interaction where Ajani, and I think it was Ajani and Liliana say something, where Liliana's like, yo, what's this? And Ajani's like, what's a Gatewatch? So that was pretty funny. But so you've got the Super Gatewatch now with Ajani, which is cool, and then apparently you have connections to every other Planeswalker ever because of that. But we know from some of the cards on Kaladesh that one of the inventions. So we have the blue green legend.
Yeah.
Pashmi or
Rashimi or something.
Rashimi. Okay. So that is the guy that's been, or I actually don't know the gender. I apologize.
I think it's a lady.
Okay, so that's the girl that has been working on some of the inventions, including the paradoxical outcome, the one that the things disappear, right? So this is a planar portal, which has been inadvertently created as a planar portal. And now Tezzeret's stealing all the inventions to build something, and he was on Mirrodin because of Nicol Bolas wanted him there, and before the way the Phyrexians were able to invade other planes with the planar portals. I'm just saying, Kothwatch might pay off.
I hope so.
So
Kinda.
I
but
feel bad for Kaladesh.
I feel like Nicol Bolas would be pretty happy if he could get his hands on an actual planar portal.
Yeah.
So
I bet he would.
I feel like that's where the end game for this is going, but he literally gets taken away by the Sky Sovereign, and that's the end of it. So it feels like we're coming to the end of the actual Kaladesh bit of storyline, but it seems like it's leading a cool place. But Tezzeret does feel like he sort of always has, a very one-dimensional villain. Wahaha! I took all your inventions.
He's the Snidely Whiplash of the Magic universe.
He was literally Waluigi. And he jumped into a smuggler's copter and went, wah, and flew to the Sky Sovereign. I wish I was kidding, but that's what happened.
So if he's Waluigi, does that make Nicol Bolas Wario?
I suppose. I guess Nicol Bolas could be was it Wart?
Sure, from the Super Mario Land games.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's really kind of interesting. So they have whether or not it happened cleanly, and I will say Doug Beyer was the author this time, and I feel I like what he's done, but I still think he's the weakest of the writers for Flavor, and it does seem like he seems to get these sort of thankless writing pieces where it's hey, see how many planeswalkers you could name in a single article, and he stopped just short of having a spelling bee where the actual names that they had to spell were just names of various planeswalkers. Your word is Freyalise. Can you use that in a sentence? Freyalise done died.
So yeah, no Koth, no Karn. Apparently, it's very sad.
So let me ask you this. So this is kind of the end, like you said, of the Kaladesh storyline.
If we're looking at the storyline cards.
Yeah,
I think
this is the last one.
This is the last one, yeah, right?
So the next set we know is called Aether Revolt.
Right.
So Tezzeret's no longer there, right?
He's
still on the plane.
So remember that there's the consulate is the government, and all the people who are watching this fight, all of the citizens watching this fight in the arena, right, are pretty upset, and most of them are the inventors of the fair who are my stuff's gone. So the Aether Revolt seems that the government controls the Aether, the government has all the inventions, But PNLR, who is Renegade Prime, is her nickname on the plane. Now seems to be set up to lead the resistance against the government with the backing of a pretty specific planeswalking crew. So I do want to say they definitely confirmed that spycopters or like spythopters, I apologize, are real things in today's story. They can take pictures because of Aether, and they definitely have like thopters flying around and go. It's good stuff.
That's pretty awesome. See, I thought like an interesting way to take that the name Aether Revolt would have been like the actual like machines.
Yeah, like the
revolting.
actual Aether. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's happening.
I know, but man,
that's
It's not Rise of the Machines.
No, that's not how they're described. Because like I don't think it would be the machines. I think it would be the Aether Born. Then
that could also be.
That's not how they've set those characters up.
I know.
So.
They just want to they just want to all live like James Dean.
You either get busy living, or get busy dying.
So moving back to some of the organized play changes. So the actual pro club levels are changing a little bit for the
they increased the points a little bit.
Yeah, the thresholds are increasing. So platinum goes to 52 from 50, gold goes to 35 from 33, and then silver goes to 20 from 18. So into the Super Summoning Series, and then there's some Grand Prix changes, some venue changes, things like that to be aware of.
In GP Las Vegas, they changed. So we're no longer going to have
Standard.
So it was supposed to be Standard, Modern, Legacy. Now it's going to be Legacy Limited,
Modern,
and Modern,
which is interesting. I'm not sure if I guess that change makes sense because then you incorporate like both constructed and limited. And if you're going to cut one of the formats, then I think people will probably care less about Standard getting cut.
I don't know. Like, it seems weird because Standard's the biggest, most played format.
Sure,
seems weird to cut that one out.
But if you were planning on going to Las Vegas only to play Standard, you could still go to Las Vegas and play Limited, and you wouldn't be necessarily negatively impacted by the inability to play a format. You may not be good at it, so that may discourage you from going, but there is a format that you could go and play at and not need any decks. You know what I mean? So it's just a preference of playstyle that's inhibiting you from going and not necessarily a lack of cards.
I don't disagree with them adding Limited in, but I would have thought they would have cut either Legacy or Modern. I think Modern could easily be cut.
I think with Legacy, you just have like a vocal minority that would complain, and that also actually cuts the amount of like Legacy support. Like cutting a Legacy GP is a lot more impactful than cutting a Standard GP in the overall scheme of things when you consider it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know there are so few Legacy events. I'm saying keep Legacy, keep Standard, have Limited, and then just cut Modern. There are a ton of other Modern events that are happening, but I don't know. I'm sure a ton of people are still going to go, but it just seems like an odd move.
Yeah, I think that overall the amount of GPs that you have, like the majority of them are either going to be sealed or Standard. So cutting a Standard GP is not as impactful as cutting a Modern or Legacy GP, and that's what it breaks.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's just how it breaks down.
I can see that. That's makes sense, but
yeah.
I don't know.
And then we already talked about the actual Pro Tour team stuff, and they went into more detail about that. So if you are interested in that, they have like a whole breakdown of like prize payouts and stuff like that to the teams basically.
Yeah, basically the thing to take out of that is like don't be surprised to see people wearing new team shirts and things like that at the Pro Tour. We kind of got a glimpse of it at the World Championship where they everybody kind of had their own branded branded jerseys and things like that. So. I would not be shocked to see some of the teams show up with some new swag.
Yeah, jerseys are like the way to go. I think for teams, it definitely lends themselves to being looked at as very similarly and favorably to other like esports.
Yeah, and we see SCG really kind of took this and ran with it. You see that teams are becoming more and more of a big deal on the SCG circuit, so it makes sense that the Pro Tour is now picking that up.
Yeah.
I would also say I expect to see coverage change for that reason a little bit too. They're really going to hit hard on those teams if they want to look at the esports stuff. If you've ever watched any League of Legends or anything like that, or anything more competitive as far as teams goes, Yeah, you might see the actual focus on team coverage as opposed to individuals. So more things like group deck techs, like team deck decks, that sort of thing. So I think that would be interesting. Team draft strategy discussion, that sort of thing. So I think that could be sort of interesting, and I hope they do something cool with it. Plus, you get LSV in the booth. So
yeah, that's just
the whole time, not just Sunday.
That's straight value right there.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 days of LSV in your face.
Which is great. I think that's everything for our community segment, though. So before we head into the competitive segment, I do want to give a quick shout out to, of course, our lovely sponsor, Comic Town. This Saturday, October 15th, Comic Town will be running the Star City Games Regionals at the Greater Columbus Convention Center. It's going to be standard format with a $40 entry fee. Registration opens at 9 a.m., player meeting at 10, as per usual. There's going to be a total of $5,000 in prizes to the top 32, as well as Star City Games points that can be that can earn you a seat at the next Invitational. And then the first 200 players to register receive a awesome playmat and token. And the playmat is pretty sweet, so definitely encourage you to check it out and come early to register and get that sweet value. And then on Sunday, the 16th, they're actually going to be having a modern format Super IQ. And it's a $30 entry fee with 9 a.m. registration and 10 a.m. player meeting. And then this one actually has a prize payout of $1K that will be distributed to the top 8 of that tournament. So pretty awesome, sweet back-to-back tournaments in the either format that you would prefer constructed-wise, so either standard or modern. So definitely head on to Comic Town and check out those events. So competitive. So over the weekend we had a couple of GPs. These were limited GPs. They aren't necessarily our forte. And typically there's not a whole lot that we can really glean from them, but we definitely want to highlight a few things. And the first one that we want to talk about is GP London. And not really a whole lot to talk about other than the winner of said tournament, which was the draft master himself, Marcio Carvalho. So congrats to them for showing their limited supremacy once again.
Out of context, that doesn't sound very good. You enjoy your limited supremacy.
I guess that's true.
It's your very teeny supremacy.
Their supremacy in the limited format.
Still doesn't sound great.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, man.
You done good.
He done good with the limited format. So, congrats to him. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're still continuing that draft master slot for Worlds. No, oh.
Wah, 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 wah.
No, they're still doing it.
Are they still doing draft master?
Yeah.
Oh, is that one of the ones they're keeping?
They're not doing the GP Master.
All right.
Oh,
Look, I got to take this back.
Wah,
Wah, wah, wah, wah, wah, wah.
never mind. I never know. I can't remember which ones they're keeping and which ones are going. So, but the U.S. GP that was this week was GP Atlanta, and it was helmed by a sort of a new face in the coverage booth, Maria Bartholdi, I believe is how you say that.
Mm-hmm.
Was in the booth along with Marshall Sutcliffe, and if you don't know who that is one of the co-hosts of Maria is one of the co-hosts of Magic the Amateuring, and I believe I know Megan is the first name of the other co-host. I want to say
Megan Wolf.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember the last name.
She was also she wasn't doing camera or like commentary, but I think she was doing a lot of the side like interviews and things like that.
Awesome.
They did some pretty cool like instead of doing the like ask the pros type deal like where they would have like the text coverage. They were kind of like live ask the pros, just short videos. I don't know, it's pretty cool. Makes sense in today's day and age with Facebook and Twitter and everything, just to have short clips instead of text coverage for that. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's awesome to see some hosts from the greater Magic podcast community kind of show up and really transition well into their roles as coverage faces or around the circuit, and it's nice to see fresh faces in general showing up. I mean, we already mentioned that we're going to get the illustrious LSV being a more consistent face on the coverage circuit, and we wish the best to Maria and Megan as they continue to show up and be the new some of the new faces for official Magic the Gathering coverage. Now the whole tournament, obviously, we want to know the winner, and the winner was 2002's world champion Carlos Romeo, and he
it's funny only to me, I guess. Whatever, it's cool. It's fine.
I don't know what kind of
That's actually a reference to how one of the guys says Romeo in the Leonardo DiCaprio version of Romeo and Juliet.
I see.
I still have
The one where they had cool guns and cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Correct.
It really made Shakespeare come alive for me.
did it.
No?
Okay.
Still haven't seen it. Sorry.
Oh, you should totally not see it sometime.
Okay.
It'll totally not be
I'll
a waste
plan
of your
on
time.
not seeing it. Thanks.
So that was an obscure reference from 1996, I think. So if you got that, tip of the hat to you. We are on the same wavelength. Otherwise, get on my level.
I don't know. It might be worth it just to see how they portray what who is that, Mercutio?
That is the real bright spot.
Yeah, that's the bright spot in that film.
That is true
for sure. But he did have we did have a pretty good top 8. Some notable names, including Ray Perez Jr., Chris Fennell, and Noah Walker showing up in the top 8. And we had Cash Turner, who is Cash Turner is like an old school player, right? Who maybe not.
I don't.
Maybe
I don't know him.
I
that
saw
well.
a match with Cash Turner, and it was against someone else whose name I didn't recognize. So maybe it was the other person that was someone that was friends with Ben Stark. Anyway, either way, Cash Turner had a great tournament, but unfortunately lost in the finals. But did not lose a match.
Yeah, he didn't lose until the finals, which is it's tough.
That is.
I've been there before on a much smaller scale, but it doesn't feel good.
That certainly is a bad beat. But I mean, still, gets a lot of benefits from getting to the finals. Definitely gets a nice chunk of change, as well as some pro tour swag in the form of like invites and stuff like that. So, congrats to him, and that's a pretty illustrious run, but that is.
Can we talk about the real news story coming out of?
Oh, sure, please.
Chris Pikula got enough pro points to get back on the ballot.
Oh, that's true.
That's the real thing here. The guy's back on the ballot. He finished in the top 64. He got his pro point. He's back on the ballot. Now do what you need to do, Magic community.
Please.
Don't let this fail again.
Please vote for him.
You saying get out there and vote?
Get out there and vote.
Correct.
Only certain people can do that, but
if you can vote for Chris Pikula, please do so.
I guess I'm not encouraging you to write his name in on November 8th.
Yeah, don't do that.
At Transip said I should vote for Chris Pikula, so there we go.
Yeah, I don't. He's probably not even. No, he's definitely old enough to be president because he's above 35.
Yeah.
So obviously,
will the machines understand that a vote for Meddling Mage is actually a vote for Pikula? Because he might split the vote accidentally, and we don't want that to happen.
That's true.
Maybe that's what happened the first time. Maybe it's what happened on the Pro Tour ballots.
People just writing in Meddling Mage.
Yeah, they just wrote Meddling Mage down, and the Wizards know how to count it.
Well,
maybe they thought they were voting for the alternate art.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's how they got confused.
that could be it.
This Conflicts version doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, so I don't understand that.
What about the Judge promo one?
Oh, God.
What is this old wizard guy?
This is too angry for me. Too angry.
Anyway, yes, I really do hope that next time that Pro Tour voting comes around, that he makes it in. I hope so. I want that to be the case.
That'd be a great story.
Oh my gosh, it would be so satisfying. But so that in honest is one of the big stories to come out of the GP Atlanta. But yeah, I believe that's everything for competitive. This is what happens when you just have 2 limited GPs and nothing else to talk about. It's quite unfortunate.
From everything I've heard, the limited format is great.
Yeah, it looks
I just haven't played it yet.
I did one draft, and I lost in the first round, but I still had a good time.
I've done 6 or 7 now because draft leagues are awesome. Say what you will about Moto, but draft leagues are sweet. And yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. Energy is a sweet mechanic. Some of the things you can do with it, and man, I really liked it. I really liked it so far.
Good.
Breath of fresh air.
Yes, I think that it's just really nice to see like be in a Magic universe that isn't like so dark.
Yeah, now I say breath of fresh air, but more than likely you're breathing in a lot of carcinogens when you're breathing in the Aether on Kaladesh.
Well, I mean, we really don't know how much of a clean energy Aether really is.
I mean, I assume there's a lot of like CO2 just being released.
We just don't have enough data on it yet.
Yeah, I mean, so
Head
far,
Judge Tezzeret denies climate change.
so far the only byproduct that we know of Aether is literal like beings of some persuasion.
I feel like, okay, if you were sitting there and you're like, man, breathe in the fresh Aether, and then you watched a being just like stand up and form out of the Aether and be like, morning, and just walk away, you'd be like, I need to see my doctor. Because this is messing with my brain.
That's true. That could be a little ooky, but I mean, all in all, I mean, the Aetherborn just seemed like decent enough people.
Sounds like a really messed up creepypasta. Have you seen all these guys who are born of the Aether? And the doctor's like, what guy's born of the Aether?
He just pans over and it's just Rod Sterling there. Welcome to the Twilight Zone.
Smoking a death stick, if you will.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, we really won't know like the full impacts of Aether energy until years and years and years. So it's probably fine.
It'll already be too late for you by the time they find out.
I don't know. They're pretty inventive over on Kaladesh. They'll probably find a way around it.
My dad worked in the Aether mines for 40 years.
All I know
Look
is
at him now.
that apparently you shouldn't just stand anywhere near any of one of their reservoirs, though. And they'll do like 50 damage to you, which is fairly bad.
Or the Aether Works Marvel, like, oh, I wonder what's going to come out of it today. Oh, God!
Evercool, jeez.
Oh, yeah, that's probably bad, right?
Yeah.
Probably. Anyway, so we're going to move into going to turns. And Dave has prepared questions for, I assume Mike and I are going to be...
Well, for everybody.
So I think
play
quickly,
along at home.
It's actually been a little while since we've done going to turns.
Yeah,
so,
we should probably explain this. It's been like a very long time.
Yeah,
actually.
so going to turns, what's going to do... So Dave's going to be our judge this time. He's going to ask Morgan and I 5 questions. We're each going to have... how many seconds are we going to
20 seconds.
20 seconds to respond. And then the dinger will go. And then Dave will decide who won the question. The winner at the end gets bragging rights and actually gets to kick the other person in the shin. Little known fact.
That's not very nice.
Yeah. So I can't wait to kick Morgan in the shin.
I'm going to make sure we don't have a tie this time because I don't have a way to pull up a random card. Well, I probably could, but
wow, he's literally telling us he's going to manipulate the system.
Wow.
Well, there's 5 questions, so it really shouldn't be a tie to begin with.
That's true. We've tied way too often on a 5-question format.
You better hope some Russian hackers don't get to your emails. And that shows how rigged this thing is.
Yeah. All right. So I don't have a coin to flip, so I wrote a random number on my calculator on my phone. So I'll give Morgan the pick, even or odd, Morgan.
Even.
Okay, you get to you get
soul
to choose.
read.
You get to choose first or second.
I'll defer.
You want to defer? Okay. Mike chooses to receive.
Which
way do you want? Which end zone do you want to defend?
All right, we ready to do this?
Yeah. All right. All right. So first question. So Mike, you'll be going first.
Hit me with it.
All right. Red white vehicles / aggro will be the most played deck at the Pro Tour. True or false, and why?
False. As much as I really love these decks, no idea why. This is how formats tend to go when you go into a Pro Tour. The aggro decks that do really, really well in the first week of a big tournament are the decks that every Pro team identifies first and tries to beat. I think consistently you've actually seen Pro teams coming out really strongly against aggro decks and actually not seeing the aggro deck show up very, very much at all.
Okay. Morgan, same question?
No, I don't think. I think that red-white, I think that's a good core, and I think it's a good strategy, so I think it will show up in some degree, but I don't think it's going to be the most played. I think that this format's still largely unexplored, and that there could be more of a avenue for other aggressive decks to show up, or something like a teamer or merge deck. I think that would be more popular.
All right. I think I'm going to give that one to Morgan. It was close because you both kind of had the same answer, but I think he elaborated a little bit more on what he thought would show up. All right, so Morgan's up 1-0. So now, Morgan, you're going to go first on this next one here.
Yes.
All right. Question number 2. Will we see a successful control deck? Why or why not?
Has it started?
Yeah, go.
Oh, dang it. I've already lost so much time. I think that, yeah, it depends on what degree you classify control as. But yeah, I do think that there's going to be something that's going to be slower that will be successful at the Pro Tour. I think that there's a lot of people that try to push that to be a thing as far as the pro level. So I think that someone's going to push it to try and make it successful. And I think someone's going to figure it out.
All right, Mike?
I do think there's going to be a control deck at the Pro Tour, mainly because Shaheen Sarani is qualified. So Esper will be be there in some number. In all honesty, though, I think the tools are there, and we've seen the aggro decks. So if the pros can come across a way to consistently beat the aggro decks with a form that features some of the counter spells and removal that we have, there's enough planeswalkers in this format that, yeah, it'll be there.
I have to give this one to Morgan. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Shaheen Sarani is qualified, but he's not attending.
Oh, he's not attending?
No.
I didn't actually know that.
He
I guess
deferred.
my apologies.
So, apparently, he just started a new job and he can't go.
Well, thanks, Shaheen, for losing me points. Appreciate it, bud.
So Morgan's up 2-0, but anything can happen. There's still 3 questions left.
That's true.
Whatever.
So, Mike, you're on first on this next one here. Question 3. Marcio Carvalho will go at least 5-1 in the draft portion of the Pro Tour.
Well, I think I can. Most of the times you'd have to take the under with this, right? But I think I can say I think this will happen. The guy just took down a GP in this limited format. He seems pretty well versed in how to play it. He truly does seem to be a limited master and has gotten his reps in. And I would have a hard time betting against the guy to go any worse than that. I mean, gosh.
All right, Morgan.
I'm just gonna be contrarian and say no. I'm gonna say that his luck has run out. He won a GP, but I think he used it all up. But no, in all honesty, I think that there is
it all up.
I think that this is a really good limited format. I think there's going to be a lot of people that invest a lot of time and effort into it and try to really master it. So I think there's going to be a lot of good limited matches that are going to make him falter.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give that one to Mike. I mean, he only lost 1 match total in the whole Innistrad block, and that was the last match at Worlds. And he just comes right back and wins a GP, so...
I don't know. Just have a feeling.
It's pretty hot.
See. Let's see what the numbers say.
I mean, I guess historically, you're probably correct, but he's on such a hot streak in Limited right now. Yeah. Marcio's so hot right now. All right. So 2-1, Morgan. Morgan, you're up first on question 4 here. Over under 23.5 Smuggler's Copters in the top 8. What do you think?
No, that's not going to happen. In all honesty, Smuggler Copter is a card that people know how good it is just from the first RC game. So if you're not prepared for it, then it's going to be something that's going to roll you over. So I think that people are going to be prepared for it and not have to play it to beat it. So I think people are going to win without it.
All right, Mike?
I would also take the under just because that number is so high. I mean, you're talking about 6 decks to go over generally. But I will say I do disagree with that assessment. I think that there will still be a lot of them in the top 8 because, yeah, people know about the card, but the card is that good. I know about a lot of cards in Magic. I know that my Delver opponent has Lightning Bolt, but guess what? Lightning Bolt's still pretty good. So I think it will be under just because that number is so high. But assuming that just because people know about Copter means that it's not as good is ludicrous to me.
Okay. I'm going to go with Mike just because I think that it is, people can be prepared for it, but it's just a card that's just so good anyway. But I would not be shocked to see, 6 decks with for smuggler.
I'm just saying, if you're a betting person, that over under, I think Morgan and I both have to agree that over under that's still super
Yeah.
high.
I felt like I had to make it high.
Even coming off of a 32 out of 32 possible
Right. Yeah,
event.
I had to make
See,
it.
I think that if that's the case, then that's dangerous for standard. In all honesty.
Yeah, if that's the case, then you might actually see a standard ban,
Yeah.
which is terrifying.
Because like the Pro Tour dictates what standard looks like. So if standard is literally like Smuggler's Copter or bust, that's not good. That's not good for the format, and that'll be really. I will be disappointed if that were the case.
Me too. All right, so it's 2-2. We have one last question
For all the marbles.
For all the marbles. Mike's going to go first on this one. Last question. The winner of PT Kaladesh will be. Go.
The winner of PT Kaladesh will be standard players in general, because you're going to see an awesome and diverse format in the top 8, regardless of who wins. You're going to see teams coming out with the best, and I think across the tournament you're going to see a number of really unique cards and strategies make an impact. And you're just going to have, we've talked about Kaladesh being this breath of fresh air. I think we're all going to win because we're finally out of Bant Company's clutches.
Interesting take. All right, Morgan.
I'm going to say that I really want BBD to win. He's the current reigning world champion, and after having played against him and like twice now theoretically, like playing against him as a team and then playing against directly, he's a really nice guy, and like I think that he deserves to have that PT win after the world's win.
All right. I thought Mike went in an interesting direction with that. I was really looking for specific players, but I wanted you to tell me who was going to win, not who you wanted to win.
Oh,
So
fair enough.
I'm going to go with Mike on that.
Yeah, think outside the bun, baby.
You got it this time. But
I swear that wasn't rigged.
No, I was really happy when you said that. I was like, no player's name came to my head. I was like, you know what? We're all going to win. You know what?
We're all
Sometimes the
winners
populist message gets there.
yeah, I mean, we're all gonna. We all own Smuggler's Copters already.
I own 5 now, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's an interesting question. Smuggler Copter is fairly interesting. It's just like we've had one, big standard tournament, and we won't have anything until the PT happens. So it's like it's weird that if that could be like oddly the case where it's like we now have we moved from like Bant Company into like Smuggler's Copter like format. So I hope that isn't the case.
Well, it's just does so many things, and it's an artifact, so it can literally go into any deck.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with like any of those things, but it would just be really unfortunate. But I think there are answers, and I think that there are there are counters to it that can be played. But man, it'd be kind of disappointing to have just like Smuggler's Copters deck be like the thing, and it's like you're just shoving like 4 copters in any deck. Like if you just like if there is a traditional control deck that does show up, and for some reason it actually has like 4 copters because it is also playing like Gideon, and it's like, well, I'll just play this Gideon, and he makes copter pilots, so it's like. And I don't think it's necessarily even that ubiquitous as far as that goes, but it's just kind of interesting how we're kind of getting these pushed rares, and at least it took a little bit of time for like Collected Company to catch on. But man, Smuggler's Copter is like, nope, that's a good one.
That's the thing.
That's
I think
the ticket.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on like control decks or control strategies. Are we going to see them or not? I think it would be interesting to see like how many planeswalkers in general we see in the format, because Copter is so good against them, or like even something like Fleetwheel Cruiser is so good at holding down planeswalkers. It's like, how many Chandras are we going to see in this Pro Tour? Like that was the card that everybody was talking about.
Planeswalkers I'm talking about when I mentioned bigger planeswalkers, like I think you saw like Hogan writing about how Big Jace overperformed this last weekend.
Yeah.
And like even Omnixilus, like these are the walkers I'm talking about, that they can come down and take care of the creature that crews the copter for a turn, or they can just tick up to they can tick up to a number high enough that Fleetwheel Cruiser does not kill them, that copter doesn't just kill them, and they get value out of it. So I think that's the direction Planeswalkers are going to have to go right now. And like because of this, you might not even see as many Lilianas as you might expect at this PT.
Yeah.
So bigger walkers, I guess, is where I should have been more specific.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying in general, because I think the vehicles are just good in general against
Oh,
all
no.
planeswalkers. Like, yeah, some of them
are.
are better than others at surviving, but still they're going to be pressured.
If you're able to land one of these walkers that will survive a hit from this, and you get to untap with your removal, it does get a little bit trickier for the aggressive player. Copters are obviously resilient to a lot of form of removal, but you're going to see, you might see things like Skywhaler, Shop make themselves more available in the Esper decks. We still have things like Anguish Unmaking, which obviously I know a lot of the answers to Copter are 3 mana, which is awkward to trade down, but I think it's important to remember the tempo gain from this as well, because they have to also tap a creature, so you are still getting their whole turn out of it, depending on how they curve.
Yeah, you're kind of both out on that exchange.
Right. So,
But, yeah.
so I think you just have to see the way this is directed. Now, it could be wrong, and vehicles could just test out that well, and you could see. But I do think the red white vehicles deck specifically, as I mentioned, is it's sort of stuck in limbo. It's in the middle. It's not really that aggressive, but it's also not really a true mid range deck. And I think that could get that deck punished. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think if you see another version, you either see a humans variant, which I think that's what you were about to say, Morgan.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that vehicles necessarily is like the red white a deck that sticks around,
or something even more aggressive. Even more aggressive than our list. You going even lower, making sure you have all of the bushwhackers. And ignoring even Gideon and stuff. So I could see the aggressive decks pushing smaller if they're going to be that good, because I think vehicles sort of gets some of its draws leave it out in sort of an awkward place with an established metagame. So we'll see. We're all just sort of guessing here, but I'm really excited.
Me too. I love the Pro Tour. I love being able to have Friday Magic coverage. It's pretty sweet. I don't know what times though. I know Hawaii is 5 hours behind Eastern.
I believe so.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have no idea when the actual coverage starts, but
All I know is that this weekend I get to watch the Indians start the ALCS, and I get to watch. Sorry, Dave. Does that upset you?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Dave and I,
if people didn't know,
R.I.P. Boston.
Dave and I exchanged very sentimental text message handshakes at the end of that series on Monday. But also, to get to play them, get to watch the Pro Tour. We're going to have some fun this weekend in preparation for Morgan's upcoming nuptials.
It's true. These are all things.
This is going to be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And, maybe we'll drive around in a Fleetwood Cruiser while we do it.
Maybe. That'd be sweet. So,
responsibly, of course.
That's, yes, correct.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Yeah, please.
So this kind of leads us into our wrap-up. So, again, Pro Tour starting Friday. We have that over the weekend. And we also have regionals, which we already talked about, in an IQ on Sunday at Comic Town. So, the regionals will be the Greater Columbus Convention Center. The IQ is going to be at Comic Town on Sunday. So make it out to those events if you can. And then, of course, we will be off next week. I will be getting married. The party will be over by this time next week. Very much so, because we have to be out of there at 10 o'clock. But I will be married man by the time by this time next week. So it's very exciting. I'm very excited. I want it to be the day, pretty much, because it's been a lot of planning. A lot of it has been on my fiance's end, because she is a very good planner.
Oh, of course.
I am not, as far as that goes, but she has a vision, and I've been very supportive of the vision, and it's a very cool vision, and I like it, and I just want it to happen. It's just when you have done something for so long, and it's just okay, I am ready for this to be a thing that I'm actively doing. So I'm very excited, and my fellow hosts will be there by my side as my best man and one of my groomsmen. So all very excited. I don't know how excited they are, but I'm going to feed them.
We tried to convince him to do Wedding Cast. He doesn't seem that excited.
Yeah.
No, I want to live past my wedding.
Hold out hope for that, though. We're still working on it.
So let me get this straight. At your wedding, as your best man, I'm not allowed to engage in the podcast. I've been told I'm not allowed to watch the debate.
Oh, you can watch it a corner somewhere, but no one can talk to you about it.
Why?
Because we want it to be a time of happiness. and not a time
I
of...
just feel like if you want to be a time of happiness, you should let me fly and be free.
This is not your time to fly, sir. I hate to break that to you.
Fair enough.
And then coming up over the horizon is the Cube Invitational. That is a very selective, exclusive event. And of course, Dave has a lovely Peasants Cube, which he has curated for many, many years. And, this is going to be the 7th annual Cube Invitational. So this is the time for, us in the Cube group to, come together, play some cards, do some terrible Rochester drafts. And
Rochester Draft is sweet.
I
Don't
wish
disparage Rochester.
I wish
Draft,
I could
okay?
get behind that format.
It's a lost
I
art.
really do, but it is so long, and I am clearly an example of how my generation, I guess our generation to a greater term, just has a terrible attention span for things. And I don't know. It just is too much.
You make excuses for how you can't Rochester all the time.
That's
All
true.
right, yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
I got
just-
your back. Rochester's sweet.
I'm just bad.
We even
at
did
it,
a
I
practice
guess.
Rochester Draft
Like,
last week.
I like all those cool draft formats though. Like
It's just so hard.
rotisserie is sweet.
You have so much information you have to keep track of.
Yeah, of course. It's the best. It's all about
I know,
processing.
that's the skill.
Oh my gosh.
It's hard. And then you have people that come in and they just mess it all up.
They shatter your dreams. It's just a high and low, high and low.
It's just
Yeah.
the worst thing. It's just so much the worst thing. But that's fine. We did one this weekend. It went okay. I got some sweet cards because I was black white, and then
You beat me.
I did. But we definitely let people just run rampant too much. We let one of our guys just have the nuts green white deck, and it was bad.
And he easily won. So
Oh yeah, it was very bad. It was bad news bears. So I guess my tip to you: crush people's dreams. I suppose that's what that format. I guess you have to do so you don't lose. You have to make other people have worse decks. But
it's kind of like a team draft, except everybody's on their own individual team. So
doesn't
you
make
just
any
have to
sense.
hate
That's
the
every
whole
draft.
time.
That's every 8-player draft. I don't know.
No, but now all the information's out in the open.
Sure. Now you just have a better idea of how to screw people over.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
and they know that you're screwing them. Just
Good. So
they might have a hint, if you were just regular drafting, but now they know.
So, Rochester Draft, how to make enemies in Magic the Gathering.
No.
In 1 hour long, arduous draft.
Yeah, no. In all seriousness, though, it's crazy to me that this is the 7th year we're doing the
I
Cube
know.
Invitational.
I know.
Started it when I first moved out here and have done it every year since, and it's continued to be just a fun full day of cube drafts and fun, and just it's awesome. So
Mike, have you decided what your third card is going to be?
I'm working on it. You said there were 7 of them. I've been invited to 4 of them. I couldn't go to the first one. The second one, I was there for 10 minutes and then had to leave because my wife got sick. Mm-hmm. The 2 that I've played in, I've won.
Back to back, yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I have some ideas kicked around. I did pitch one idea. Dave said it was too good.
Yeah, that red card's too good. I'm sorry.
So I read So Mon's Goblin Raider is a 1/1 for 1 red. This is when it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. Why is that so good? I don't
Oh,
understand.
gosh.
too good.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you were going to make that card, though, it would have to be the Goblin Court Jester. That would be the best card name for it. But that card's way too good.
Yeah. By the way, the winner gets to make their own card and put it in my cube for a year. So
And
that's
it-
what we're
it's
talking
nice.
about here.
It can be, a pushed card. So, some of the cards have definitely been, pushed.
Oh, man.
But as time has gone on, I think we've been better at making less broken cards.
Yeah, who knew designing balanced cards was difficult?
It's almost like people do that professionally or something.
Right.
But yes, that is the most tantalizing thing that you can win in this draft is being somewhat immortalized in Dave's cube.
And if you're wondering how to get invited, I just have to invite you. That's how you get the invitation.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's very selective.
there aren't any qualifiers or anything. It's just I ask you to come. And,
You either make the cut or you don't.
Right.
And that's no disservice that anyone hasn't. There's still time and always next year for you to make it into the Cube group and come to the Cube Invitational. Come to the 8th annual Cube Invitational.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I don't really have any hopes of getting my own card. I'm usually pretty medium in cube drafts. Sometimes I have moments of brilliance, but it's usually not my thing to win. But I always come. Always have a good time. So, but I mean, that's pretty much everything for this week. If you want, you can reach out to us on the Twitter. We are at @YourEndStep. We also have a Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/@YourEndStep, or our Gmail email address, which is @YourEndStep@gmail.com. While you're on Facebook, definitely check out Comic Con Gaming Center. They are our lovely sponsor for the show. They are what allows us to do this week in and week out. And so give them a like on their page. Check out their events, like what they're hosting over the weekend. Also, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us a review on there. We also are in the Google Music app if you have an Android phone. And we also are up at MTG Cast. So you can go there, download our podcast from there, and find some other podcasts that will become your new favorites. But I think that's everything. I think we covered all our bases. We'll catch you guys next time, and you have a great one.